for some of the considerations for testing. And again, I've come back to the course report from this year. So highlights there. Most candidates gained good marks for carrying out all the tests listed in their test plan. And we saw that they had carried them out, and we saw some evidence provided for that, so that was good. A few candidates provided no description of the results of testing based on the test cases provided. So there were a few that just didn't give us the description there, so we couldn't award all the potential marks. One area in particular, when we go back to the fact of the golden threads and we go back to the analysis stage and pick up on the requirements, candidates quite often indicate that users' aesthetic requirements. Users should find it, the interface easy to use, or it should be uncluttered, or things like that. And then we see when they get to testing, because they've got it in as a requirement, an end user requirement, when they go to test it, we don't really see them providing evidence of that. Because how are they testing it? If they don't do it as part of their persona testing with the test cases, they're not really providing us with any evidence. So probably a word of caution to them when they're writing out requirements in the analysis, to think carefully about that. And if it's an aesthetic thing about layout, uncluttered appearance, that kind of thing, to actually think that through and say, how do I prove that? How do I show that?
Okay.
So when it comes to the point about the lack of evidence here, so evidence to show, and this is straight from the markers, evidence to show that all requirements have been implemented, particularly things like gameplay. Here we are back at pie game again, aren't we? So evidence of gameplay, which quite often they don't provide to us. Evidence showing final totals or the final scores that they don't provide, they don't show us. Application of their advanced higher algorithm, their query results, so what Debbie was talking about that earlier, the before and after results, their input validation error messages that we spoke about at the design stage, where they hadn't given us the details of what they would be, and then in fact they don't give us evidence of what the error message actually displayed. And authentication error messages. So basically a lack of detail of all of these things.
Okay.
Now, other things that have come up in feedback from markers, there has been a failure to use the functional and user requirements as the basis for their test plan. However, candidates have definitely been improving for the past few years with that. We used to see that as being quite a common thing, that it wasn't used, but in terms of like markers reports and things, the feedback getting communicated back has generally been quite well adopted, I think. So we have seen more and more that are advised for making your requirements into, a list, number them potentially, and then that becomes the basis for the test plan.
Yeah,
it's really easy for us to use then, and it's easy for the candidates, for the pupils to produce it as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and that will tie in with the golden threads thing as well. Can you just get those functional requirements just going through the whole project? So, and why not testing as well? Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, and that we can tie in with their test data. So of course, going right back to N5, they know about normal, extreme, and exceptional, don't they? We've talked about it from then, but it's a reasonably common thing that knowledge seems to disappear a wee bit, and they forget to use that data in their test plan and to tell us, here are the values I'm going to use, here's my normal, extreme, exceptional values, and then shows the results of that. So I would say it's a fairly easy one to fix. It's just maybe a wee bit time consuming, but it's not like, you know, an impossibly hard task to do that, is it?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, that's another one where again it's maybe a slight lack of detail on it. The other big thing, the end user, the persona testing. So we have but in the past years, Debbie, we've had quite a lot of fun at the pupils, at the personas that they have developed for us and the descriptions that they put in. But there's a fine line there, isn't there? If their personas become overly humanist and unrealistic, then it probably, although it gives us a lot of fun, and there's not much fun to be had marking projects, believe me, but it does give us a bit of fun. It does raise a smile. But the thing that they miss out in amongst their lovely descriptions is they don't give us the technical ability of that person. They don't tell us, you know, about their ability to use the software or the web interface or whatever it happens to be. So they need to remember and put in the technical ability. So that's a key thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and their persona, it should reflect a real end user. So not be too extreme. Tell us their technical ability, and it should be then they have to think of the tests, and that's from a black box point of view. This is an end user and how they would use it. So it's about what will the input and output for them, isn't it? So they need to mix their persona then with a list of tasks that the end user would be expecting to carry out, that end user, the 55-year-old divorcee that likes to play online games or whatever it happens to be. So to make sure that they've got that level of detail in it, a reminder that they don't then, that is instead of separate end user testing. Because again, we have seen a few candidates include that and have that separate, but that's what the persona is for. That is for testing it as if you were the end user. Okay. So basically, overall, the goal for the persona is test as if you were the imagined end user. Make sure you've got a list of well-defined tasks, and make sure that aligns with the persona's ability, the person's perceived ability, and what they want to do.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks for going over testing there. No, that was great.
Okay.
Have a look at a kind of evaluation